let's keep that vibe going for this episode on funny sales mistakes. Ready to get started?
Yeah, let's do it on funny sales mistakes. And why don't do you have a story that you can share and then pass it over to me?
Sure thing. Let's kick off with a story. All right, welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today, we're diving into 20 hilarious sales mistakes and the lessons they teach us. I'll start us off with a story.
We're not going to do 20. Okay, that's madness. Let's do like 3.
Got it. 3 stories it is. Let's go again. All right. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today, we're diving into 3 hilarious sales mistakes and the lessons they teach us. I'll start us off with a story from my own experience. So picture this. I was doing a live demo of a potential client, and everything was going smoothly until I realized I was sharing my personal desktop instead of the demo. My desktop was a mess with all sorts of random files and personal photos. I panicked for a moment, but quickly laughed it off and said, "Looks like you've got a sneak peek into my chaotic life." The client chuckled and we moved on. Moral of the story, always double check your screen share setting before starting a demo. Adam, got any funny stories to share?
Hard to follow that riveting story up, GPT. I have one that is pretty funny that I like to share, and I think it speaks to the style of business and communication and what's acceptable and what's not. And as an SDR, those of you out there who are SDRs, shout out, making a lot of cold calls every day, and I needed to hit a certain number of cold calls each day, my daily metric. So if I had a number that I knew I could continue to dial without any recourse, I would keep it around, so I could reach that dial metric. And I believe I called this poor woman like 30 business days in a row at least. And then I remember sending an email like, "Oh, I'm going to close out your file," just because she never answered, right? I'd leave a voicemail every few, and then she answers that email and says, no, don't close out the file, like, interested in the future. Thought it was funny. It's just like, wow, it's like, I get it now, more so in her shoes, but it's like, don't acknowledge the 30 missed calls you have. Just, no, don't close out the file, I'll be interested later. I thought that was pretty funny.
That's a great one, Adam. It's amazing how persistence can sometimes pay off in the most unexpected way. It's a good reminder to never assume someone's disinterest based solely on unanswered call email.
True.
All right, let me share another one. This one's about an overzealous follow. There was this sales rep who decided to send a follow-up email every single day to a prospect who hadn't responded to their initial proposal. By day 5, the prospect finally replied with, "I'm interested, but your persistence is bordering on harassment." The rep learned a valuable lesson about the fine line between being persistent and being a nuisance. Thankfully, they ended up closing the deal, but it was definitely a moment to remember. So Adam, any other gems from your experience?
Well, wait, so you shared a story where persistence did not pay off. I shared a story where it did pay off. That's interesting. What would you say? Is there a line to draw with persistence versus respectfulness?
Absolutely. There's definitely a line to draw between persistence and respect. It's a balancing act. Persistence shows dedication and can keep you top of mind, but it's crucial to gauge the prospect's reactions and respect their space. If you're getting no responses after several attempts, it might be time to scale back and give them some breathing. Tailoring your follow-ups and timing based on previous interactions can also help avoid coming across as too pushy. It's all about finding that sweet spot where you're being persistent enough to show interest, but respectful enough to not overwhelm. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, so I agree. There is a line, but I don't think the line is drawn with how necessarily the number of times that you reach out. So for me, I was very persistent as a salesperson, but I was also extremely respectful. I had that Wisconsin charm, as my teammates would point out. So I would email and call a lot, the same people within organizations. However, I would use phrases like "forgive my professional persistence," which some people hate. It worked for me. I think the line is drawn at exactly what you said, GPT, in terms of reading and reacting to the prospect and their emotions as you see them, as you're reaching out, but also reacting or also just using respectful language, respectful tonality. Tone can go a long ways here. Like you can get people that are really mad at you, really backed down with tone quickly to show that you are, you do mean business, or you are passionate, or whatever it is. So that's where I think the line is actually at the how you're communicating, not necessarily how many times you're communicating. Yeah, that's my thoughts. But I think we got a wrap here, GPT. What do you think? Closed out?
I think you nailed it, Adam. It's all about the approach and respectfulness in your communication, not just the frequency. That Wisconsin charm definitely sounds like a winning strategy. So to all our listeners, remember, persistence is key, but always pair it with respect and careful reading of your prospect's cue. Use respectful language and maintain a professional tone to keep the conversation positive. That's a wrap for today's episode on hilarious sales mistakes and the fine line between persistence and respect. Keep selling, stay respectful, and never lose your sense of humor. Until next time, everyone.
Up and at 'em.